Hey, everybody. It's Jackie with Jackie's Recent Things. How are y'all doing today? Well, y'all, it's still hot outside, but we're going to work on some more Christmas. Christmas in July. Here we go. What I have here, you can get these rail forms from Dora Shaver. They're 22 inches long. We're going to use these to make a different kind of garland. I introduced this technique before using metal frames, but we're going to do something different with these. So here we go. So we're going to take these and put these end to end, and we're going to use zip ties. And y'all, I'm just going to tell you, the zip ties that you typically buy, the small ones with your Unique at the Creek board, I wouldn't recommend for this. They're not as strong as these, and you're going to want them to be pretty strong so they don't come apart. The ones that I have here are from Walmart, and they're 75-pound strength. So we're going to zip tie these together. Now make sure that your zip tie things are up. You don't want them on the other side because this is going to be the back side, because you don't want them scraping the door. So this length is actually your standard mantle length, and it's actually really good. I have found boxes that I can ship these in, the 48-inch long, and it's just the right size to ship this in one piece. So you have two directions that you can go in this next step. You can put pipe cleaners on here and just add the mesh, or we're going to do it another way. The reason we're going to do it another way is because what we're going to do is we're going to use some really, really cheap garlands that I got at Walmart. I got like a ton of these on sale, and it's a 9-foot garland. And the reason that we're going to use this is it's going to make it so that we can hot glue our items in and not have to worry about tying them in. And the wood base plus this is going to give us a really good, secure foundation for using hot glue. So that's why I chose to do this. Let me undo this, and what I'm doing off to the side, I have to let it dangle off my table a little bit, is I'm trying to find the center of this. So give me just 1 second. Okay, so there's a reason that I wanted to find the center of it, because I wanted a good, secure tie-in to start. If I would have started with one of the ends, I was afraid it might slip out, so I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to take one pipe cleaner on the top, and I'm going to tie that in. And then I'm going to take another one at the top and tie it in. That way it's good and secure. Now I'm not going to have to worry about it coming off the base. So, and then what I'm going to do now, you can either do this with pipe cleaners. I'm going to continue to do it with zip ties. Just every so often, I'm just going to get in here and zip tie it and secure it down. So I'm gonna go about every like 7 inches. Because this is 22 inches. One of the frames is, so I'm just gonna kind of try to break it up. Now you can definitely use a fuller Garland, but I got these so cheap that I can use 2 of them and I'm still saving a ton of money. So I really want to make sure that this doesn't move. So now that I'm at this cross section, I'm going to go under and up, kind of like on an angle, and tie it in here. Now you can get these zip ties shorter so you're not wasting as much as I am. This is just what I had here in the shop, so I just grabbed it. I keep some fairly large, long zip ties for other projects around my shop. The one thing I really like about doing garlands this way is this makes it so easy to transport it and store it. You can hang this up from your in your garage, lay it in your attic. It's just easier to deal with a garland like this. Here, I'm going to flip this around now. Just to, I'm running out of table space to push it over. So now we're at the end again. So what I'm going to do to finish this off, I'm going to tie this one in. And now I'm going to fold this. I'm going to crisscross the two pieces to cover the end, and then put a zip tie. Now I'm going to cut these off pretty close to the zip tie, because I don't want the sharp piece sticking out. So that was a 9-foot garland for 2 sections. Now this is not as full as what I want. I want it pretty full with the greenery, because I want a really good base. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to separate these over. And get them out of the way. But if you purchase a better garland and do this, you won't have to do as much. But like I said, the money that I saved, it's just a little bit of extra work to do this. Alright, so now we're going to expose the center, and I'm going to take one more 9-foot garland and I'm going to go straight down the center with it to really fill this frame out. Once again, I'm going to drop off the side here. I'm trying to find center to fold it in half. So we're going straight down the center with the whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. I've got my center. And so it doesn't move, I'm going to zip tie it around the end. Now I'm going to pull both sides of this together, straight down the center, and zip tie down the center. see, that's going to finish filling this out nicely and give us what we need to have a good foundation to hot glue. Now, as I'm pulling these, I'm making sure to not leave any slack in the wire. I'm pulling it as close to the frame as I can get it. When I think about doing things like this, I'm thinking about long-term decor, how to store it, because when you do something and it takes a lot of effort to make and your Christmas tree decorations are expensive, you don't want to have to replace it year after year. So I think about the long-term in storing and everything like that to make it easy. Like I said, look how easy this is to just move it around. I'm not having a Garland like that twists. So we're going to cut this one a little bit shorter at our stopping point because we don't want those sharp pieces sticking out from the end. Just be careful that you don't cut the other garland. Oh, that didn't even hit the zip tie. Let me grab another zip tie here. really only took about 20 minutes of prep work to do that. Let me get my mesh roller out of the way and we'll put the mesh on. Because I have been known to knock stuff off my table not paying attention. So I'm just pulling this back a little bit to bring all that I pushed to the outside back toward the inside a little bit. The garlands that they have at Walmart, the frosted ones, that would be really good for this one. They're a 12-foot garland. And it's a frosted one, and it's thicker, so you would only probably have to use it once to come down the frame. And that 12-foot garland, you might be able to do the whole thing. Yeah, you should be able to. 3 pieces, 4 feet. I cut this one in half, so you should be able to run up and down each one with a 12-foot garland. All right, so what I did was I cut my mesh 25 inches, and the reason I did that is because, you know, for the long term, if I was going to do this out every year, I wouldn't care about the fray, but I just want to do a little roll in to stop the fray. Now I'm just going to start all the way down at the end and start tying my mesh in. And I'm doing it on the outside because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a basically a left to right, top to bottom kind of thing. So the trick to placing your mesh just by eyeballing it, y'all, is that once this comes up, that's 5 inches. So from the center out to the end of your ruffle is 5 inches. So I'm going to place my next ruffle right there at the 5-inch mark. So that's where I'm going to tie it into. So because this is a Christmas garland, I don't care if I don't cover up the evergreen part. I mean, when it comes to Christmas, that's just part of it. You can do this for fall, do it for Halloween, you can do it for Easter. You don't just have to hang these over your doorway. This one I'm going to actually hang at the end of my hallway. I've got also I have a large bathroom mirror I can hang it on. And the one thing I like about this is that you can use those 3M to hang it up, and it gives you something a little bit more stable to hang on to with the wood. And you don't need as much because you've got the wood. Like when you use just standard Garland, if you're wanting to go straight across, you have to use more nails. Like in my door, I literally only have 3 screws and use this. That way it doesn't sag and droop. So if you're not wanting it to sag and droop with a Garland, you have to use, you know, more nails to stop that sag and droop. I still think this is, you know, if you do home installs, I still think this is like the best way because then you don't have to stand there at the customer's doorway doing all of this. You go and you hang it up and you're done. You know, especially if you're in one of those states where it's hot as all get out. You can build it in the cool of your shop and then transport it. You know, yeah, it takes a little bit of planning depending on the kind of vehicle you have, but if you plan it out right to be able to piece it back together, it wouldn't be a problem. Just be careful when you're putting your mesh on too. Don't forget you got zip ties down in there, so don't dig your knuckles really deep in there, kind of thing, because you don't want to scrape your knuckle. That one went too far to the center. That will bother me. So like I said, if you want to and you just want to tie stuff in, you can do that, and you can just add pipe cleaners, and then you'll do it about every 5 inches with pipe cleaners. I'm just going to start down here. You can also use for ties, so sometimes you can get them really cheap, just a wire Garland, and zip tied on with the ties. Sometimes I get overzealous on my rolling, just not thinking. Like when I'm doing a spiral, I just keep rolling until the mesh is gone. So basically, because I've already like measured like 5 inches, it makes this side go quicker. Because all I have to do is just tie it in directly across from the other side. So I cut my mesh 25 inches. So it kind of depends on the kind of mesh that you use, how much you're going to need, and plus how long you make it. But this is going to take me about 2 rolls at the 25 inches. So if you were cutting it 25 inches, you could say for every 22 inches of rail, or each rail, you'll need 1 roll of mesh. So you can use that as your general guideline so that you know how many rolls of mesh you might need to get. If you don't want your garland this wide, you need something a little bit more narrow, you can just simply like run to Lowe's or something and get a inch square stick. It's 5 feet long. There are tons of options. I noticed I fanned out up there, so I'm going to fix that really quick. I don't know what happened there. Just kind of move the evergreen in a little bit, and then I'm going to add one piece of, no, I've got 2 pieces of mesh left. I'm just going to add in the 2 pieces of mesh that I've got cut left up here. If you have a stairway, a banister, you can put this on a banister. And the best part about it, a lot of people are scared of scratching their wood and stuff like that. So with this, before you even put your first bit of mesh on, go ahead and secure everything down. And then before you start working on this, take and put a complete felt back on this as well. Because the felt's really inexpensive. You can double it over if you want to. And then you don't have to worry about scratching, you know, maybe your fireplace or banister, things like that. Because that's one of the people's biggest concern is when it comes to dealing with these things with their wood is scratching it. So like I said, you could just completely flip this over and cover this with felt. So you don't have to worry about things poking through and scratching bookcases, you know, whatever. Dining room tables, you can even do this, you know, if you have a long dining room table and you want to create a tablescape, you know, you can do this as well. All right, y'all. So there's the base. And then once you get done with your base, come on back. We're going to start adding the ribbon. And the best part is, once you get done with the base, which takes a little bit of time, it'll take you about 45 minutes to do this, but the rest of it goes really, really quick. Bye, y'all.